Portraits. Poems by Daniel Tammet. Narrated by John Bernys. Mother-in-law. She has 5 sons and no daughters. On birthdays shows white elbows and knees, deferring dowdiness, and calls my husband Jerome Alexander Peter, a stickler for moisturizer sun cream, spending September-scented evenings on the terrace, over lipstick-flavored wine and butter rice. She always removes her glasses for the camera. I sit over from her at the table, standing in for the lapsed husband, long since gone. The conversation swerving back and forth, to outsiders all untranslatable. She giggling, blushing like the girl she never had, like the girl she had 5 boys for. Robert Pershing Wadlow. He looked like a stilt walker, or a suited sunflower, parading his head along the streets of Alton. His aerial ears stopped cars. Illinois' tallest boy, his height 8 feet and 11 inches. He occupied a sweeter air above the stranger's cologne and second lung smoke, the pong of spongy sandwiches. Wherever he went, an impromptu campus would form, upturned faces lengthening with surprise, the suck and pop of gasps as he waded through the paddling pool of people. Handshakes were ribbon-cutting protocol. His foot-long hands englobed all others. They were useless with scissors. Reporters' pencils between his fingers were the size of drawing pins. Tired blood, huffing and puffing from head to toe, laid him low. Bed sheets twitched with cold stethoscopes. Sour thermometers neighbored his pillow. The phone's gargle interrupted by his father saying, "Normal," then, "No." Unhindered by blisters or walking sticks, a body's paraphernalia, radio voices met his mind. The accents of America live from London, Toronto, Yokkaichi. Bob, feeling dinky beneath the sky. To a 2-year-old. You're 2 years old. That is to say, 1,000 days, give or take 100, constitute your world. 1,000, and yet so small, 1 heaped teaspoon in grains of sand. Not for sieves or colanders. Days, they'd slip right through, nor any good as food. They'd go stale like calendars. Days are to play in while grown-ups lose their bags and their tempers, oh, the jet lag, traveling to beaches by plane. Anton Chekhov's ashtray. Give me an ashtray, and I'll give you a story the next day. A. Chekhov. What trouble for a few rebels? The deadline's tomorrow, and I'm still in 2 minds about the plot. My shirt's broken out in splotches the color of stewed tea. At least, the samovar keeps me warm. I can feel it glowering at my arm that writes. With the left, I lift a cigarette to my lips and draw. In the next room, somebody's pacing up and down. I count the kopecks that'll take us through the week. The piano's still unpaid. I try to breathe. Corral my thoughts, but they wander to the tickling in my throat. The handkerchief, once surgeon white, in my breast pocket. The ashtray, bottomless with butts. Gray smoke wreathes indolently above the pen. To think the rebels are already spent. Wouldn't even buy tobacco from Taganrog. Burstly as grandfather's beard, brown-orange. Flame-tasting straw, yet I need the work. A thick monthly pages to advertise my art. I puff again and kick off a slipper. My words blacken sheet after sheet of paper. Words like house and soup and cough. The shortest smudge like swatted bugs. My fingers grow hot. A man, a woman, and a problem. All a story needs for drama. Every story's a picture of a problem, worth 1,000 words, and some rebels. Rain again? The window weeps. Butter slick mud for tomorrow's rounds. I'm sick. Of medicine. patients who never pay colleagues' dull jargon. I go sleepy, quarantining my pen to the unsocial hours. The ashtray becomes a sad sandcastle, a pyramid of cinders, too many for a sister to see. I'll tip them out before Masha stirs, but until then, let the fire in me burn, the clouds resembling arches, lions, scissors. The lady who no longer dyes her hair. It only took a night for Marie Antoinette's hair to turn snow white, like the flour in a cake, the shocking thought of the blade. But for you, Nicole, white hair, like an art, required a lifetime, 80 colorful years, seen throughout untinted glasses. Oh, what a color. Whiteness. Maturity is its hairdresser. For Rimbaud, the color is a vowel. For us, the beauty of a rebel. Dada's the memory man. I am William James Maurice Bottle. You looked the part, bow tie and waxed mustache. Applause so wild aroused your practiced smile. Your diction, vivid as phonographs, said, yes, the lady's standing in the aisle. The facts and stats long severed from the flesh that made them, names and reins and winning weights of derby horses. These all coalesced inside your minds against oblivion's raids. But now the music halls are overrun with pubs and popcorn, corny souvenirs, knowledge bite-sized for blogs and tweeting thumbs. Your 50-year remembering career attracts no page in Wikipedia. Your life too trivial for trivia. Robert James Fisher. Don't call me Bobby, he'd say, and hear every lapse as fingernails on a blackboard. Above the pricey white shirt, his hazel eyes were glare, stare, and scowl. He rarely touched his king. In games, playing fast, overthinking Russian masters, a Brooklyn boy's sole hobby turned career. The stare of spectators accompanied his every finger across the white and black spaces of the board. Chess before him was hobo art, no money in monomania. Better any king in blackjack, any bridge table's white lie, than the most brilliant sacrifice. Bobby changed all that. His Midas finger left disbelieving peers to stare at the game's first superstar. Felling Berlin walls of pawns, his board-ward hands plied their trade, victory's harbinger, the adversary indigoing face. King-size checks put Bobby's moles on black and white TV. The crooked crescent of his white smile waxing at the studio starlet's moves. Attraction was like a B2, B7 Franchetto, an oblique bishop on the board's diagonal lines, but the king never did find his queen. His finger wore no ring. Friendless anger, a smaller allergy than defeat with white or with black against the king's gambit and a Soviet stare. Done with winning, he grew a beard and disappeared. Years of staring at a board made kindling of Bobby's nerves and white-hot fingers. Catherine. The season of hedgehogs, the 5th of November in England. It's our national holiday. Our 14 Juliet without the Bastille. Among the fireworks, there is the Catherine wheel, a blazing circle that turns and turns and turns its spectators into redheads. At least for as long as it crackles, then the spectacle burns itself out. The curls on heads gray and darken everyone, except the real Catherines. The 5 Lives of Jean Clement, 1885. Close your eyes and count to 10. The playground ends. The boy's teasing breath smells of cake. Her 8 is laughter. In the solar system of her family, the only daughter is the sun. Grandmother is a distant satellite. 1915. Marriage keeps her in Arius, roller skates and tinned cherries. The newspapers are all numbers since the Kaiser became the swear word. Her mirror's reflection weeds the coiffure of gray hairs. She rehearses grief. 1945. Water for coffee crackles in the pan. Its bubbles remind her of champagne. She pours away Fernand's portion. Old habits die hard. The kitchen calendar in November says July. 1970. Black umbrella stumble under snow. The bodies of loved ones turn to stone. Names remain, she reads her dead. A stroppy hip, she grows shy of stairs. To childhood songs and poems, her memory is kind. The tempo of her stories never sags. 1995. Nursery home foods only fit for spoons. Her toothless mouth resembles a child's drawing of a circle. Roquefort veins marble her cheeks. Visitors' voices moisten in her ear. She's tired of sleeping. The end turns solicitous. A flirt. A friend. English lessons. To Marianne and Johan. One summer with New York in your sights, you came on the metro between two rendezvous to speak your TV English in our living room, and behind the dictionary I listened to your voice, transforming you. I knew you much less well than I imagined. Of perfume and Africa, and the cinema economy you spoke, recounting a whole side of you I had no idea of. No mother had taught you the words you pronounced. As best you could, trial sentences. Trial sentences saying certain things by yourselves, for later on, we have to practice. You told me in French, learn to speak in the future tense. Avoid the mistakes, the hesitations of the first lessons. In real life, there isn't the excuse of an accent. You were afraid. What if the words didn't come, left you lost, and tripped you up? Those little words with multiple meanings, like do, and get, and make. I saw your photos of New York, and today another person invites you to pronounce a little word before us. Your families, the law. We, you say. I do. And you did. Les Murray's ballpoint. I'm not your ordinary biro, a pocket dropout, one of those dozens that disappear every hour from offices in Melbourne. Poetry is my line of work. Mislaying me hurts when my owner slaps his shorts in a panic of inspiration. He's learned to treat me as a pet. At home, I have all the best spots, besides the silver-framed photos and where the ashtray once smoked, so that I won't become a stray out of language. He makes a lead and takes me for long promenades across the paper's white fields. Along the river bends of stanzas, through the paddocks of the mind, where, for several precious instants, he can leave himself behind. The universe and me. Once a year, we inhabit a birthday universe, 14,038 years in expanse. 14 billion, one estimate, since the Big Bang, to which I add my brief time on Earth. I raise my gaze to the sky and contemplate this number, which frightens and oppresses us all. Our love lives, in comparison, make us remember that we are creatures infinitely small. And yet, within me, a distant spring continues to live, ever surprising. Of this, the universe knows nothing. Galaxies and human beings occupy different time zones. I was born 10 years after Neil Armstrong's lunar adventure. What a sight for posterity's eyes. The astronaut appeared timeless. He was 38. I know I'm living on borrowed atoms. I see them wherever I walk on a sunny day. The carbon in trees, the silicon in windows, the hydrogen in my coffee. I am a spaceman. Ashes to ashes, stardust to stardust. What is a lifetime? Moments suspended in infinity, the music of wind in the trees, windows framing smiles, the warm, earthy smell of coffee. Everyday moments by the thousands, by the millions, billions, 14 billion, and more besides.